and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Michaela, and thanks for stopping by. So I want to start off by kind of stating the obvious. If you've been here for a while, you know that we recently hit 30,000 FunsizedStyle fan members, which is amazing. But I can now announce that I have filmed a video with Barcroft, and I will link the video down below. But because of that, our family has grown immensely, very fast, and I want to thank you all so much for that. I figured we might get a few new members, but not as fast and as quick as I ever imagined. So thank you so much. And because I knew the video would be coming out soon, I figured that this video would be a good one to do. I've been around for a while. You know that I actually did this video before, but I actually deleted it. I did the video like a year or two ago, but I did not like how the video turned out. It was pretty close to when I was like, my channel was like first starting out, like first growing, and it was incredibly cringy, and I was like super up close to the camera, and I naturally talk fast, but I don't know what was going on that day. I was like talking super fast. For those of you that do have a YouTube channel or do something in front of the camera, you know that it does take time to get used to. You're just starting out, so that was it for me, and I was just talking a mile an hour, which some of you probably still think I am, but I'm sorry, that's just the way that I talk, I guess. But anyways, this intro has been long enough. Today's video is going to be a video about my disability, which is kind of obvious as well by the title, and also for those of you that are new, the way that I look, you could obviously figure that I do have some kind of condition or disability. So with the immense number of new members, I thought this would be a great new video to do. Like I said, I did one in the past, deleted it, and I wanted to do a better, more informative one. So I actually have a cheat sheet because, fun fact, I never do like little cheat sheets for my videos except for Q&As, because obviously I need to know what you guys ask. But there's so much I want to cover in this video. If you see me referring to this, or if you see this pop up in the video, that is what it is, because I don't want to forget anything. So let's just go ahead and get right on into it. First off, the most obvious thing that I'm going to start out with is, what is my disability? What is my condition? So my disability is called Osteogenesis Imperfecta, and it sounds like a mouthful, and it is. It's a pretty big term. Basically, it is a connective tissue disorder, so it's also known as brittle bone condition, but what most people that have it don't realize is that it affects more than bones and muscles and all of that, because osteogenesis imperfecta has something to do with genetic mutation, and it is a lack of collagen. Collagen is kind of what holds your body together in a sense. So hold your bones together. It affects so many parts of my body. It affects my eyes, it affects my bones, obviously, my muscles, joints, teeth, and in some cases mine is my heart. Osteogenesis imperfecta also affects the lungs as well. So it affects so many parts, which I will get into, and just to let you guys know, this video will be incredibly long, but I don't want to leave anything out. Now that we kind of know what it is, collagen is kind of, again, what holds everything together, and because of osteogenesis imperfecta, I lack collagen. It affects many parts of my body. So I guess we'll just kind of get into it. I don't know where to start. I have a list of like the order I want to go in, but in my mind, there's so much I want to cover. So the other thing that I want to mention also is that it is genetic. So my mom also has the condition, and so does my twin brother. And for my mom, she has 6 siblings, all of which are over like 5 feet tall, and her parents do not have it. There is no known case in her family that's had it. So for my mom, it was a genetic mistake, as you call it. But nothing in life is a mistake, but in the science and doctor world, that's what they call it. So because she had it, my brother and I, also have it. So it is genetic. If you don't have anyone in your family that has it, and then all of a sudden you find out that one person does, it starts from that person, but the first person that has it in your family is considered as a genetic mistake. I hope this all makes sense. I'm going to do another video, Osteogenesis Imperfecta Q&A, so if I didn't cover anything in this video, I will definitely cover it in that video. With Osteogenesis Imperfecta, there are several different types. Researchers are constantly finding new types and how it affects the different types. For me, I have type 3 as well as my twin brother and my mom. Type 3 is the second most severe type of OI. Type 3, it affects your height, obviously, and fracture more easily than other types of OI, except for the next type I'm going to talk about. And the way that we're shaped. So we don't really have a very large neck. Our spine and neck is like compressed a bit, and we have like our chest shape is different, and again we're very small in size. Oh, and also with OI you have what's called blue sclera. So in the whites of my eyes they're a tiny bit blue. Some days they show up more than others, so that is also a characteristic of OI in general. But I know in type 3 it's a lot more common. The weird thing about the types is that they don't go in order in severity. So I didn't really go in order to begin with severity, because I want to talk about the type that I have first, so that you guys would kind of get an idea. So the next type is, the other type is type 2. Type 2 is the most severe, and more often than not it is fatal. You often, if you have type 2, you often don't live past birth because your lungs don't develop fast enough. So, and you're just so incredibly frail and fragile. So again, type 2 is the most severe, often fatal, and if you do live past birth, it's usually not very long. Although I have heard that some people have a combination of types, which don't really have a great understanding of, because you can get tested. So I'm not sure how the test works if you have a combination, but in fact, it is 100% determined, no second guesses of what type I have, because I've been tested before, and once or twice before, and my mom also has type 3. So then there's type 1. Type 1 is, you would not necessarily know that the person would have OI. Type 1 is pretty much average height, most likely a little bit shorter than the average person, but surely not by much. They obviously wouldn't be like 6 feet tall or anything, but they're pretty much average height. Like, you might have met somebody with OI in your lifetime and type 1, and you don't even realize it. It's really hard to tell with somebody with type 1 if they have it, because unless they get tested, because they don't fracture as much and they're pretty much average height. There's type 4. Type 1 through 4 is the most common. However, they're finding that there are about 9 types now, but those types are 5 through 9 are so new. If you don't have it, you pretty much don't know anything about, which I'm also curious as to how they're finding these new types, since most common is type 1 through 4. I don't know if I mentioned, but type 3, much of my type, is we fracture pretty frequently, the most frequently out of the 1 through 4. I'm going to talk about the 1 through 4 because I literally know nothing about the 5 through 9 because they're so new. So I've grown up with type 3 and knowing about 1 through 4, so that's all I know. So type 2, if you do live, again, past birth, you're probably born with fractures, and type 3, again, you fracture pretty frequently. So I've had about 90 fractures. And then type 4 is very similar to type 3. Our physical appearance is similar. Type 4 is people are a little bit taller than type 3 usually. And they also break almost as frequent as type 3, but not quite as much. Type 4, again, they're shaped very similar. Their physical appearance is very similar to type 3. Again, a little bit taller than type 3 usually, and they fracture a little bit less than type 3 usually. So type 1 through 4 all have the blue sclera. It's hard for me to talk about the rest of the types because I only live my life, you know what I mean? I'm not in another person's shoes to know how it affects them. So those are pretty much all the main types, and again, there's 5 through 9. So I don't know how those are affected, what those are like. If you have OI type 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, Let us know in the comments. Have you been genetically tested? Like, what is the difference between that four between, the rest of them? So if you're not comfortable sharing, by all means don't. But I'm just curious because, again, they're so new. And the next thing that I would like to cover, so again, those are pretty much all the types. I know that was a lot to cover and kind of went back and forth between the types, but I kind of had to kind of explain how they work. So the next thing I want to talk about is, I already talked about it, it's genetic, and then the next thing I want to talk about the parts of my body that are affected. So like I mentioned, OI is a lack of collagen. It's a connective tissue disorder because I don't have enough stuff to hold everything together super easily. So as I mentioned, it affects my eyes. Again, the blue sclera. I can't tell if you guys can see it or not, but in the white, yeah, you can kind of see it. In the whites of my eyes, what's called blue sclera. And some people with OI, it affects their eyesight. For me, at this point in my life, I have no trouble seeing. However, I have had my eyes tested and will continue to do so throughout my life because eyesight can be affected. It is very common to be affected by OI. And I, again, don't have any trouble. I have the slightest, when I was tested like 7 months ago, I had the slightest little bit of trouble with seeing far away. But it was so slight, they said, that glasses would pretty much do nothing for me. So I'm really grateful for that, and because my eyesight is truly my everything. It also affects my ears. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. It also affects hearing as well. So for me, I've had all kinds of hearing troubles. Nothing I really ever noticed, because usually you don't notice that kind of thing unless you have trouble like ear infections or something. The most common trouble with the ears are the middle bone in your ear, or something like it's not right, and therefore it affects your hearing. But for me, I didn't have that middle bone issue. Middle bone, I think. Is that what I'm thinking of? Middle bone issue. For me, I just had a lot of fluid in my ears all the time. Like in this ear, I still have trouble. They don't really know why the fluid is there. I had tubes in the past. They worked pretty well, and then they fell out, which they do. And so I got them back in, and because I started having trouble again, and they fell out, and well, they kept getting infected in this ear. So we just had to take them out. Still get fluid and pain in that ear, and nobody really knows why, because I don't have that middle ear problem that people with OI, some have. So mine's kind of like an odd hearing ear problem that nobody seems to really know. So it also affects that. It also affects my lungs. I have what's called restrictive lung disease. So basically, because my body is so tiny, my lungs don't have a lot of room in there to like expand. So I breathe pretty fast. I don't notice it because it's normal for me, but I breathe pretty fast, and so that also affects it. Many people with OI have restrictive lung disease, and thousands of people have what's called sleep apnea. So basically, when I'm sleeping, I don't stop breathing, but it's extremely difficult for me. So I have what's called a trilogy, which I'll insert a picture here. So I wear that for sleep apnea at night. I use that at night for that. And then OI also affects the bones, obviously. I've had tons of fractures, about 90, and mainly our arms and legs. And I've broken a toe a couple times, a finger, when I was like first born. And that's like pretty much the extent of it. And also the biggest thing I forgot to mention is scoliosis. All types with OI pretty much have some degree of scoliosis. Mine is pretty severe. Back surgery is so incredibly dangerous. I don't know of anyone that has gotten paralyzed from the spinal fusion, but it is a possibility. And paralyzation, because one hit of the nerve and I could be paralyzed, is not enough for me to do something about. I don't have back pain, and I don't have trouble breathing because of it, and it does not affect my quality of life, so therefore I'm not going to do anything about it at this time. It also, I'm trying to think of everything, so it also affects my muscles. So my muscles are a bit weaker than the average person, so it's hard for me to lift heavy things, and it's also a little bit dangerous because I could break if I lift something too heavy. And it also affects, for me, my heart. I have a heart condition called mitral valve prolapse. I'm like really open with you guys, like it's nothing I'm ashamed of, like nothing to hide. So I think that's everything that it pretty much affects. I think that's it. Again, if I think of something in the middle of the video, I might say, okay, like, wait, so those are like all the main things that I can think of. That it's hard for me to like think back, like, what is all the parts that are affected? Because I'm used to it. I live it. I've been born with it. I live with it my whole life. I just forget something. See, teeth are incredibly fragile. I know a lot of people with, I have trouble with broken teeth and like chipped teeth. Mine are actually pretty good. I'm not gonna show you guys my teeth. That would be weird. But mine are actually pretty good. I've never had a cavity. I don't really have trouble with chipped teeth. I think I have like one, but it's like barely chipped. My top teeth are like my best. They're pretty good. My bottom teeth are like the best. Like they're really crooked. Braces would be a bad idea because pushing them together and the whole jaw thing, it could break. So braces are kind of out of the question. And plus, when I smile or when I talk, for some reason you don't see my teeth. I don't know why. So that's kind of nice. So I don't have to worry about people seeing my crooked teeth. And so I can't eat like really hard things. Teeth are pretty strong for having type 3 OI. I know a lot of people with OI that have had teeth trouble, like broken and chipped teeth and stuff like that. And I've been really fortunate. So that part of OI has not really affected me. So I'm really grateful for that. I must take pretty good care of my teeth. So, but I can't like eat really like tough or hard things just to be on the safe side so I don't have any trouble in the future. I mean, I can eat some like, I'm not on a soft food diet, but you know, like, I don't know, animal crackers. Those are really hard to eat. So, just things like that. Again, I might think of something in the middle of this and be like, oh wait, I have to tell you guys this. Another part of this video is like kind of an FAQ, like things I get asked a lot about in videos. So, can it be cured? No, there is no cure for osteogenesis imperfecta. There is research being done, but there has been no improvements, and the only kind of treatment there is, I have metal rods in my arms and legs that go in the middle bone to help prevent them from breaking. And while I still have had 90 fractures, my fractures would triple if I didn't have those rods. I could tell you, I remember some fractures where I'm like, whoa, if I didn't have that rod, it would have like completely broken. They have saved me so much. But rods are, the metal rods, they look like a crochet hook almost. I'll try to insert a picture if I can. Not of mine, but they're inside of me if I find one on the internet. So that is the only treatment there is for OI. And then of course spinal fusion, which tons of people with OI have had. For me, I again do not plan on having the spinal fusion at least any time soon. One bit of the nerve, like I could be paralyzed. And I'm not trying to scare anybody of doing it. There have been dozens of, hundreds of people I think with OI that have had it and are not paralyzed, thankfully, but it is risky, just like any surgery. But that one in particular to me is too risky for me at this point. If I had chronic pain or it's affecting my organs or whatever, I would have no choice. But the recovery is long. For me to be 100%, it would probably be a year and a half, and that's just not something I want to put myself through right now. That is pretty much the only treatment. Spinal fusion, which I have not had, and then spinal fusion doesn't cure scoliosis, by the way. It improves it, but it doesn't like cure it, because you can have problems with the rod in your back. I do know people that have had that happen, so it is not a cure, but for some people it really does help. And then I have like the metal rods. I have a rod in my upper left arm, upper and lower right arm, upper and lower legs. So the other thing is daily life. How does it affect my daily life? For me, or with anybody with OI, you have to be extremely careful with anything that you do. I've broken bones by sneezing, coughing, rolling over in bed. I've learned a strategic way of sneezing, a strategic way of coughing, so that I don't fracture. I fracture ribs as well. I think I forgot to mention that, but ribs I fracture pretty frequently. As I've gotten older, my bones have gotten stronger, but But one thing that really does, in my mind, get stronger is ribs. I think I broke a rib like a month ago by sneezing. So daily life, like sneezing, coughing, things like that, I could fracture. I fractured a ton when I was younger, but now that I'm older, my bones have gotten stronger. But when I become elderly, I will not only still have Osteogenesis imperfecta, but then you go back, it almost gets worse because I could also have osteoporosis. That's a long ways away from me, so I'm not even going to worry. Daily life, I just have to be incredibly careful with everything that I do. I can pretty much do everything on my own except for transferring is a bit of a difficulty for me. Many people with OI do not have these troubles. For me, even somebody with OI that is the same type, it affects them differently. My mom and I, like, for example, like, she uses a walker, and I prefer my wheelchair. I feel more independent in my wheelchair. I feel as though I can reach things better in my wheelchair. I feel more independent in my wheelchair. But for her, she feels more independent walking. I feel safer in my wheelchair, so it all depends. Like, every person with OI is different, obviously, but what I'm saying is within the type. So I do not walk. I could use a walker, and I have tried it many times when I was younger. I will also insert a picture. It just doesn't seem practical for me. It could help my bones be stronger by bearing weight on them, but I don't feel as independent and beneficial enough. Other than that, I do everything independently. A bit again, transferring is a bit of a difficulty. Another question I get asked is driving. Can people with OI drive? And the answer to that is yes. My mom drives, and so many people with OI drive. Some of us do not, like myself, because it's personal preference. I myself am petrified to drive. I am 100% confident, 90% confident in my skills. You don't want to be overconfident. It's just not something that I'm interested in. I've gotten in a car accident, and even before I got in the car accident, I never really had an interest in driving. It's not my driving that scares me, it's other people, and just the idea of having to react to literally everyone and everything, like, really freaks me out. So there are people with OI that don't drive, again, just for personal preference. The two main ways that people with OI drive are extended gas and brake pedals or hand controls. My mom uses extended gas and brake pedals. So she drives, and my twin brother Austin is also interested in driving, but I am not. So again, it's all personal preference. That's pretty much like the main, like, daily life things. Like, obviously I can't do regular sport, just things I have to be careful of, like non-impact things so that I can do. So anything that involves impact is really not a safe thing. Something that I also forgot to mention as far as treatment is some people with OI do aquatic therapy. So instead of like physical therapy on land, like, it's physical therapy in the water because it's non-impact. So it's a lot safer. I've tried it and I really didn't like it. I don't know how to swim, and yes, there are people right there and they would never let me fall, but it scares me way too much, and my fear of drowning is like, I like water, I like being in it, but the idea of like doing therapy in it and like doing the things that I did in it just did not make me feel safe. So don't do that either, but I have thought about perhaps going back in the future. I can do all my other self-care myself, get dressed, brush my teeth, take my medicine. Transferring is the only thing that's difficult, as well as, again, I don't drive. There's no reason I can't, just something that I'm not interested in. So, another, not weird question, but just one I'm guessing I never thought of is life expectancy. So, people with OI have a pretty normal to average life expectancy, unless, again, you have type 2. Yeah, think daily life. Many people with OI also have a service dog that helps them do daily tasks, because there is some daily things that I cannot do on my own, such as picking things up off the floor. So many people do have a service dog, such as myself. I have an entire video. I have so many videos about service dogs, so I'll link those all down below for you guys, so I'm not going to touch on that a lot. So hold on, I got to look down at my list since I dropped it. Cool. I just put Chloe outside. She's not here to pick it up, so hold on. Okay, there's only a few more categories that I want to touch on, and I kind of already went over fractures and how I have fractured before. Also, as I've gotten older, I have learned through the 90 fractures that I've had what not to do or how to do something differently. Sometimes you literally just have to learn your own limitations before you know them. Because as I was growing up, we didn't know how fragile we didn't know what certain things would cause me to fracture. Like, we knew the obvious things, like if I got bumped or fell or things of that nature. To learn a certain way to sneeze, a certain way to cough. Sometimes with people, often with OI, you just have to learn after you fracture what not to do. It's important not to do the same thing twice, so you don't fracture the same way. I want to touch on the surgeries that I've had. I've had over 25 surgeries. I've had 24. I'm going for my 25th one in August, non-OI related, which I talked about in a vlog on my second channel. So the main surgeries that people with OI have is the spinal fusion, which I've talked about. The other main surgery is called osteotomies. So basically what osteotomies are is it's a fancy term for the way that they insert the metal rods that look like crochet hooks into bones. So into the middle bones that I talked about that I have the rods in. So up here, you can barely see the scar right there, and then you can see the scar, and then I have scars on my legs as well. So what the osteotomy is how they insert the metal rods is, unfortunately, they have to break the bone in order to line the rod up and line the bone up. These osteotomies also help to straighten the bones. People with OI often have curved bones, so I don't have a rod in my lower left arm because I just have never fractured it. Knock on wood, I think I did once maybe. No, I don't even think I've broken one. But it is a little bit bowed, a little bit curved, but it's barely anything. But like this arm, it used to be a lot more crooked. Like this is as straight as it will go. Same for my legs. So the osteotomies not only help to line the rods up, but they also help to straighten the bones. I've had quite a few of those surgeries. I would say at least 15, I would say 15, maybe even almost 20. So those are like the main surgeries that I've had. So again, they have to fracture the bone in order to line the rods up. And those are the main OI surgeries that they have. And then again, tubes for fluid in the ears, which I've had a couple times. Another comment that I get a lot is people feel bad for me about my quality of life. They wonder like why I'm so happy. They wonder, wow, don't you have like a horrible life? And people wonder about why is it a good quality of life? Why are you embracing the life that you have? My quality of life is amazing. Sure, I have some fractures. Sure, I have some surgeries. But we all have a cross to bear, and we all have something that we're going through. And osteogenesis imperfecta happens to be mine. And I would not trade OI for anything in the world. I've had the most amazing opportunities because of it. I have met the most amazing people in the world because of it. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in front of the camera. I truly enjoy the life that I have. And I have a great quality of life. Just because you have a disability or chronic illness or condition or whatever it may be does not determine whether you have a happy life or a sad life. And I have a happy life, and it's all about choice. It's all about attitude. And what I constantly want to remind you guys though, in my videos I'm happy on this channel, but in my vlog channel I show you guys from time to time when I'm sad, when I cry, and I get frustrated, just like we all do. My last surgery, I had a hard time. All those surgeries are painful. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Well, I'm thankful I have them once they're over, but they're painful, and sometimes I cry and I get frustrated, and I get frustrated when I fracture, like, why did I do that? But that's human nature to get frustrated. But other than that, I try to live the most happy life that I can, experiencing life joys, and I truly have an amazing quality of life. And I've also learned that you can always find somebody worse off than you are. And I don't want you guys to ever feel sorry for me. I hate when people feel sorry for me, and that's not how I want people to feel about me. I have an amazing quality of life. And then the last category that I want to talk about is some misconceptions. The first misconception is that, have I tried drinking milk? And the answer to that is, milk is not the answer for osteogenesis imperfecta. Osteogenesis imperfecta is a connective tissue disorder, therefore lacking in collagen. Collagen is different than calcium. Collagen holds everything together. calcium just helps like build strong bone. It's collagen, and it's not the one-all-fix-all for OI, and pretty much has nothing to do with OI. Since we do lack collagen, we do need all the calcium that we can get, but we also don't want to get too much. It can be beneficial, I guess, but don't drink too much milk. It does not affect whether or not you really fracture. So, of course, we tried drinking milk. Not the one-all-fix-all, and doesn't really help anything. Well, it is important. It's not a secondary cure for OI. The last misconception that I want to talk about is whether or not osteogenesis imperfecta affects my cognitive state, mental stability, mental ability, whatever you want to talk about. And the answer to that is no. Osteogenesis imperfecta is a physical condition. It does not affect any part of my brain. My brain is completely fully functioning as anybody else's brain that's fully functioning, and I was in honor classes in high school. I'm in college. I was on the dean's list. I was in 2 national societies in high school and as well in college. So the short answer to that is no, it does not affect any cognitive, mental ability or stability in any shape or form. That's everything. This was one of the longest videos I've done in a while. I feel like there's so much I forgot to cover. I want to do having OI and what it's like to be on the side of, in that side of the medical field as a patient with OI. So I want to do a couple of other OI related videos and also a Q&A. So if there's anything I did not cover in this video, be sure to comment that down below and I will use that in the Q&A. But of course, if you watched it till this end, you know they reached the end. But of course, watch to the end and pay attention so that I don't have to repeat anything in Q&A. I'm sorry if I forgot anything, and I'm sorry that this was so long, but I really wanted to do this video to kind of inform you about OI, since it basically is my life. I live it and breathe it every day, and yeah, I hope you guys found this informative and helpful, and I love you guys so much, and thanks for watching. Bye!